Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Tim Booker channel. Wishing you an enjoyable listening experience. Today, I'm going to talk to you about the book, The Serious Business of Small Talk, by the American linguistics expert, Carol A. Fleming, Ph.D. The subtitle of the book is, Becoming Fluent, Comfortable, and Charming. Language is the fundamental tool for communication among humans. In our book series, we've delved into various works on effective communication using language in different contexts, such as the workplace, intimate relationships, and family dynamics. However, today's book addresses an often overlooked area of communication, small talk. You might be thinking, isn't small talk just casual conversation that everyone knows how to do? Is there a need for specialized skills and guidance? To that, the author of this book, Fleming, would say, don't underestimate the significance of small talk. Small talk serves as an effective signal when people are trying to connect with each other. It's a relaxed and enjoyable form of communication, serving as a warm-up before more profound and serious conversations. Small talk plays a crucial role in establishing intimacy and rapport, opening the doors to friendships and collaborations. On the flip side, many people struggle with small talk in real-life situations. We've all experienced or witnessed those awkward social encounters, commonly referred to as awkward small talk. You find yourself in a conversation with someone you don't know very well, trying to break the ice and bridge the silence with small talk. However, you realize that your chosen topic isn't well received, and you don't know how to respond to what the other person says. Polite formalities or even silence become the order of the day, and the conversation becomes increasingly uncomfortable. Given our willingness to seek guidance and undergo deliberate training in various language communication scenarios, like public speaking, workplace presentations, or even romantic approaches, it makes sense to also learn professional skills to enhance our small talk abilities. This book aims to address this previously neglected aspect of communication and turn you into a conversational adept. Fleming, the author of this book, holds a Ph.D. in language communication disorders from Northwestern University and spent many years professionally treating individuals diagnosed with communication disorders. During this journey, Fleming discovered that his therapeutic techniques were also beneficial for ordinary people lacking communication skills. Consequently, he transitioned into a career as a professional communication educator and trainer, eventually being employed as a communication consultant by several Fortune 500 companies. This book, based on his 30 years of consulting experience, serves as a guide for everyday individuals looking to improve their communication skills. It offers numerous practical tips and techniques that can be put into action. In the following sections, I will introduce the book's content in 3 parts, akin to a brief half-hour audio lesson. First, we'll explore the significance of small talk from an anthropological and historical perspective and how it can be used to alleviate social anxiety. In the second part, we'll delve into optimizing our small talk from 3 angles: communication mindset, content, and response techniques, all aimed at enhancing our social interactions. Lastly, we'll discuss how proper body language and expressions can assist us in becoming skilled conversationalists in the realm of small talk. First, many people may wonder, why do we engage in small talk? At the beginning of this book, the author, Fleming, explains that the history of small talk is nearly as ancient as humanity itself. In ancient societies, this form of communication was a matter of life and death for our ancestors. Through language, our forebears could instinctively, based on the content, speech patterns, and facial expressions, rapidly discern whether someone was a friend or foe, whether they were benevolent or hostile, whether they could cooperate or if caution was needed. The instinct that evolved over time was so strong that even infants under a year old could distinguish the relationship between the speaker and themselves based on the voice they heard. If the speaker wasn't their parents or other familiar family members, infants immediately became alert. Similarly, today, in our small talk, we often use information sharing and evaluations to assess whether someone aligns with our values. Individuals with relatively consistent values are more likely to feel an intimacy even when they are somewhat unfamiliar, which enhances the willingness to cooperate. Besides distinguishing friend from foe and confirming identity, the second role small talk plays in human evolution is in sharing information and fostering cooperation. To support this viewpoint, Fleming suggests reading the famous book, Grooming, Gossip, and the Evolution of Language, by renowned evolutionary psychologist Robin Dunbar. In this book, Dunbar put forward a well-known theory that humans became the most intelligent beings because of our powerful and unique language abilities. The continuous evolution of human language capabilities is for the purpose of improving social relationships and facilitating cooperative labor. Since the dawn of humanity, sitting together and chatting has been one of the fastest and most versatile forms of social interaction. Through information sharing, our ancestors could swiftly identify allies, form a basic judgment of the reliability of potential partners, and effectively promote and present themselves. In this process, as humans needed to interact with a larger number of social counterparts and describe a wider range of external events and personal experiences, the richness and complexity of human language gradually increased and evolved. Fleming emphasizes that, even in our technologically advanced civilized society today, small talk remains an effective tool for rapidly connecting with others and constructing a sense of community. In this book, Fleming uses an analogy to describe small talk. If all forms of communication were compared to food, small talk would be like tofu. It's easily digestible, versatile, and can absorb different flavors from various accompanying elements. So, why do some people resist small talk? Fleming offers a straightforward analysis, stating that our aversion to small talk mainly focuses on the ice-breaking conversations with strangers in social settings. The nervousness and discomfort we feel when meeting strangers stem from our genetic instincts, as we cannot determine whether the other person is friendly or if we belong to the same community. Therefore, small talk with strangers creates an internal conflict and torment within us. On one hand, social etiquette dictates that we must be warm, polite, and friendly. On the other hand, our biological instincts scream, beware, this might be an enemy. Consequently, many people develop social anxiety due to this internal conflict. Fleming assures us that small talk is, in fact, a remedy for social anxiety. You might be thinking, I'm afraid to engage in small talk with strangers because of social anxiety, and now you're telling me that small talk can cure social anxiety? Isn't that a catch-22? Well, this is where a unique therapeutic approach comes into play, exposure therapy. In simple terms, exposure therapy involves gradually and systematically exposing yourself to the things you fear, thereby diminishing your fear response and achieving emotional desensitization. For individuals with social anxiety, a reliable practice involves starting by analyzing conversations you've witnessed in your mind, focusing on how social experts engage in small talk. Gradually, you can replace those experts with yourself. Next, practice small talk with people you are already familiar with. As you become more at ease and effective in your conversations, you can gradually extend your social circle through their introductions. Fleming states that the level of skill a person possesses is typically the average of the 5 people they most frequently interact with, and small talk is no exception. So, if you want to genuinely improve your small talk skills, the first step is to overcome your fear of communicating with strangers and courageously step out of your existing social circle. With the motivation issue addressed, the next step is the practical techniques. Author Fleming provides a step-by-step guide for us, listing several key points. First and foremost, we must be cautious of a detrimental small talk habit, being overly self-centered. Fleming states that those who are excessively self-centered in conversations cannot truly understand the other person or create an appropriate communicative atmosphere. To rapidly build rapport, it is crucial to focus our attention on the other person, actively listen to the information and emotions they convey, provide appropriate responses, and learn to appreciate the other person's unique qualities. Many psychological counseling experts, including Fleming, suggest that to discover flaws in our social communication, we may consider recording the interaction's audio or video under the other person's consent and then sit down to review and analyze it. How can you determine if you are being too self-centered in your small talk? Fleming provides several indicators. Do you dominate the conversation, constantly talking about yourself? Do you frequently interrupt the other person? Do you involuntarily raise your voice to drown out the other person? In your conversation, do you talk more about yourself rather than the other person or other topics? If your answers to these questions lean towards yes, it's clear that you have a strong tendency to be self-centered in your small talk, and you need to consciously work on overcoming it. The first step is to prioritize absorbing and responding to what the other person is sharing during small talk and setting aside your inherent emotions and opinions. Fleming's second key point can be summarized as follows: small talk isn't trivial, crafting the content is crucial. Many people view small talk as a casual and unstructured form of communication that doesn't require any preparation. However, upon closer examination, we often find that what we thought was small talk has turned into awkward conversations. Common flaws include a lack of detailed information and personal experiences, excessive vagueness, confusing topics, and the potential for awkward silences. As a result, not only does the other person find it difficult to respond, but your attractiveness in their eyes quickly diminishes, making it challenging to achieve the goal of establishing a closer connection through small talk. So, how can you make your small talk more engaging? Fleming suggests starting by staying curious and doing some preparation. If you're engaging in small talk in settings like industry events, academic conferences, or themed social gatherings, such as birthday parties or hobby clubs, it's a good idea to do a bit of research and gather relevant information. Learn about the conference topics, the backgrounds and credentials of the speakers, or the professional knowledge and interesting tidbits related to your hobby. This way, when you're in the conversation, you won't find yourself at a loss for words. Next, Fleming advises letting your curiosity overcome your social anxiety. You can silently remind yourself that everyone here knows something you don't. By demonstrating genuine interest and asking sincere questions, you can gradually become part of the conversation and gain the appreciation and acceptance of others. Of course, these last-minute strategies may only provide temporary relief. Fleming emphasizes that the fundamental solution to ensure you always have engaging small talk is to consistently accumulate everyday knowledge and information. Apart from everyday knowledge, another suggestion from Fleming is to expand your personal life beyond the workplace and cultivate healthy and beneficial hobbies. While investing your time in these hobbies, you not only gain unique skills and broaden your horizons but also strengthen your character. Additionally, it makes you more charming in small talk. Fleming provides an example of a doctor who was extremely shy but popular in social communication. This doctor was an avid traveler, having explored numerous places around the world, including some remote and less visited destinations. His stories about traveling in Tibet and observing polar bears up close in the northern regions of Canada, among others, captured people's attention during small talk. In his book, Fleming also shares an opposite case concerning a young programmer from China working in Silicon Valley. This individual, named Ben, had a rather narrow range of activities outside of work, which included watching TV, surfing the internet, and playing video games. He essentially fit the stereotype of a computer enthusiast. Ben's social circle was limited to fellow Chinese nationals, and he lacked native English-speaking friends. Over time, Ben realized that to advance in his career, he needed a more extensive and diverse social network while improving his English communication skills. So, he sought guidance from Fleming. Fleming's diagnosis was straightforward: to have a normal social life and improve communication skills, you must first have a life. What constitutes having a life, in Fleming's understanding, is primarily about spending your discretionary time outside of work by leaving your home, disconnecting from virtual environments and electronic devices, and engaging with the real world and people. In real-life situations, you participate in activities and entertainment alongside others, prompting natural communication and interaction. The shared experiences in these activities create a motive for conversation and provide engaging topics for small talk. Thus, Fleming gave Ben 3 requirements. 1. Reflect on your interests and hobbies. 2. Find a group of people who share your interests and hobbies, and make sure they are native English speakers. 3. Adjust your social tendencies, break out of your comfort zone, and allocate time to spend with your new local friends, rather than staying exclusively within your compatriot social circle. As a result, after some time, Ben told Fleming that he had successfully broken the ice in social situations. He attended a cooking class, not only cultivating a new hobby but also forming a meaningful connection through shared experiences. Alright, we've got the determination for communication, our mindset is adjusted, and we're armed with topics and our personal image is well prepared. Now, what's next? Fleming teaches us a series of specific operational points for small talk. I'd like to call this part, delving into details. First, you might be interested in how to start a conversation with a single sentence, especially when meeting unfamiliar social contacts. In other words, how to break the ice socially. Fleming emphasizes that the first topic at the beginning is of paramount importance. If you think of the forthcoming small talk as a ship, then this initial topic or question can be considered the anchor that keeps the ship securely moored during stops. So, you can call it an anchoring question or an anchoring topic. But how should you choose this anchor? It's best to pick something unrelated to both parties but present in the surroundings. This way, discussing it is safe and likely to elicit the other person's thoughts. For example, this painting is quite interesting, that cake looks delicious, with such thick frosting, or, this elevator is the slowest I've ever been on. Choose something like that. Next, you should pay attention to the pace of progression and divergence within the small talk itself. If various forms of in-depth communication are likened to a large orchestra playing symphonies very meticulously, the participants need to play their roles as if they were members of an orchestra, following the sheet music and conducting. Fleming says that small talk is different from deep conversations and is more like improvisational jazz, with many elements of spontaneity. The tune of the conversation, or the topic, jumps around randomly and transitions quickly. Therefore, in small talk, it's best to keep your speaking time to less than a minute each time. If the other person brings up a new topic, be sure to follow suit. Additionally, you should control the pace of the conversation, paying attention not only to answering the other person's questions but also frequently posing questions and opinions, allowing the other person to continue and engage in the conversation. It's like playing tennis or dodgeball. For an enjoyable match, both sides need to be evenly matched, with a give-and-take dynamic. If one side is consistently unable to return the ball, it's like frequently interrupting a game, making it tiresome. Fleming says there's a common pitfall in small talk, which is the closed-ended question. For example, in a bar or entertainment setting, someone enthusiastically asks, "The atmosphere here is really nice, do you come here often?" In response, feeling nervous and awkward, you directly reply with a simple, "No." This abruptly blocks the space for the other person to continue. So, what's the solution? Ideally, all questions and answers should be open-ended, meaning they can't be answered with a simple, yes, or no, but instead require a bunch of specific details and personal feelings. This method originally comes from a classic principle in the field of news reporting. William M. Weinert, a veteran sports journalist in the United States, mentioned this in his book, The Associated Press Sports Writing Handbook. If you're interviewing a prominent sports star and want to unearth enough information in limited interview time to craft a fascinating in-depth report, you can't ask closed-ended questions. For example, asking something like, "Do you think our team can win the championship this season?" Any athlete with professional ethics will answer with a quick, "Yes," but that's the extent of it. Therefore, savvy veteran reporters ask questions like, "In your opinion, to win the championship this year, what aspects should our team focus on?" You see, this is a highly effective open-ended question. The interviewee also opens the floodgates, discussing topics such as tactics, team recruits, analysis of opponents, and even the atmosphere in the locker room, providing a wealth of details. The little trick for media reporters during interviews is highly applicable to our small talk. Conversely, those skilled in small talk can offer detailed and engaging responses even when faced with closed-ended questions. This brings them closer to the other person, continually increasing the heat of the small talk. For instance, while taking a walk outside, a stranger approaches to break the ice, saying, "The weather is really nice today." Most people might respond with a simple, "Yes," but communication experts include a bunch of details and feelings in their answer. They might say, "Yes, I love taking my dog for a walk in this beautiful weather. I go from here to there, where a lot of people are out enjoying the scenery and getting some exercise. You should check it out too." Having covered mindset, content, and skills, Fleming's final key emphasis in optimizing our small talk is on managing facial expressions, body language, and insights. Fleming points out that when people assess our conversations, they have three questions in mind. The first is about the content, the second is about how we deliver it, and the third is about how we appear when speaking. We've already discussed the first two, so let's now talk about how our facial expressions and nonverbal language should be presented in small talk. In this book, Fleming draws on the views of another psychologist, Huthmaker, and introduces the soften principle, where each of the 6 letters in soften represents a way to express positive emotions such as friendliness and care during casual conversations. First, let's look at S, which stands for smile. This is quite straightforward, as a smile conveys friendliness and warmth, letting the other person know that you are safe and non-threatening. O and F represent open posture and forward lean. This involves keeping your arms and legs uncrossed, shoulders open, toes pointed towards your conversation partner, and slightly leaning your body in their direction. This posture effectively conveys your openness, lack of defensiveness, and genuine interest in the other person's topic. The letter T represents touch. For instance, after you first meet, offer a confident and firm handshake. Use your palm to make contact with the other person's palm, letting your palms touch. This is a very effective social icebreaker. The letter E stands for eye contact. Fleming mentions that many of the consulting clients seeking his help discover, upon reviewing recorded conversations, that they either shy away from making eye contact, which makes them appear unsure and lacking in confidence, or they stare mechanically at the other person, creating an impression of underlying aggression and offense. First, during eye contact, you should slightly lean forward to reduce any sense of psychological pressure. Second, treat eye contact as a two-person dance, involving give and take. Gaze for a moment, then briefly shift your gaze elsewhere before returning. The last letter, N, stands for nod. Nodding when the other person speaks has a reassuring and affirming effect, as most of us understand. Conversely, you can verify the attractiveness of your small talk by observing the facial expressions and body language of the other person. In simple terms, if your conversation is unsatisfying, the other person's face and body will display signs of resistance. These may include shifting their gaze away, increasing the physical distance between you, covering their mouth with their hand, or placing an object between you. That's the basic content of this guide on making conversation when there's nothing to talk about. In this book, author Fleming, drawing from his professional knowledge and extensive therapy training experience, has analyzed the irreplaceable role of small talk in interpersonal communication. Following that, Fleming provides specific advice on improving self-presentation and optimizing communication in small talk. These suggestions are highly practical and interconnected, forming a step-by-step manual for enhancing communication skills, improving language expression, and quickly breaking the ice. Fleming concludes that if deep conversation is the expressway of communication, then a natural and pleasant small talk is the off-ramp leading to it. If we summarize the key points of effective small talk into a simple and memorable formula, you only need to remember Fleming's principles mentioned in the book. The three letters in represent three concepts: anchor, initiate a relevant topic or question; reveal, express yourself openly and positively; and encourage, use body language, expressions, or words to motivate the other person to continue talking. So, essentially, to have a perfect small talk, start with a great anchor question or topic, encourage the other person to engage, break the ice, and then apply these principles to maintain friendly and open self-expression while responding to the other person. In the book's second part, Fleming provides advanced advice for readers who have mastered these basic principles. This includes how to handle group conversations, how to adapt communication content based on the other person's nationality, cultural background, and gender to avoid offense and unnecessary awkwardness. It also covers topics like adjusting your tone and volume, as well as making a polite exit when a small talk is coming to an end. These are the highlights of this book. Congratulations, you've just completed another book. Thank you for your support and attention. Please subscribe to Tim Booker's channel, like, and share this valuable knowledge with your friends. Let's combine wisdom and practice to achieve our financial goals and create a better future. Thank you all, and goodbye.